All right, everyone, welcome back to another SirLinksalot.co podcast. We're here today with Mr. James Dooley. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm all good. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And how are you doing today, Nick?
I cannot complain. Pretty excited about getting to talk to the party master of SEO I've heard all about for all these years. I'm excited about meeting you out in Chiang Mai for sure. But thanks for being on the podcast. Really excited about this.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to be on. I followed you two guys for quite a long time and SirLinksalot, so
Awesome.
it's good.
So yeah, if you guys are unfamiliar with James, he's the CEO of Promo SEO. He's also the founder of FatRank. He's a self-proclaimed digital landlord with 600 or more websites under his management. And he's also had big success in the casino and gambling niche as well. And you might have also seen him around on a bunch of other podcasts recently because it seems like you've kind of been doing the rounds. Yeah, did I miss anything important there?
No, you've kind of got a majority of it in there. I own one or two other service kind of based businesses as well, but yeah, that's the hooks and crooks of what I do. And yeah, I'm a bit of a podcast slag at the moment. So.
Awesome, but yeah, glad to have you on. So yeah, we really wanted to have you on because we actually get a lot of questions in our Facebook group, SEO Roundtable, as well as on our YouTube channel and our live streams about rank and rent. And I believe Nick has a little bit of experience with rank and rent, but this was quite some time ago, and I don't have any experience with it myself.
I've failed at it every single time as well. So ranked rent is not my favorite. I'm excited to hear some tips and tricks about this, and I know our viewers are too.
Yeah, for sure. We get asked about it a lot, and every time we just have to pretty much say, yeah, we don't really know much about it, but here's the things that we kind of do and what we recommend doing. But yeah, so it's good to have you on. We can kind of fill the knowledge gap there. But yeah, so I guess to start things off, could you just briefly describe what rank and rent is?
Yeah, so rank and rent is where you build a website, you rank it, and then rent it out. So you need to try and find certain industries that you think if you generated leads for that kind of business, somebody would want to pay money to take those leads. It's kind of one step further than lead generation. The reason, I mean, a lot of the time you start out in lead generation and then you kind of move it over to a rank and rent model. The main reason for doing that is because it's predictable income. So that's kind of why you kind of progress from building out the site, doing maybe a cost per lead, and then in time moving it to a rank and rent model.
Gotcha. So when someone rents their website, what does that actually mean?
So what it is that so what starts to happen naturally is when you build a website and it starts ranking and it's generating inquiries, the client starts to, the hard part about lead generation is it's almost like doing client SEO. And you've got a client that's ringing you up regularly, maybe every other day, saying, I've just had an inquiry and they've not answered the phone, so I don't want to pay for it. Hi, I've just had an inquiry and it was one of my competitors. Hi, I've just had an inquiry and it said that it was Mickey Mouse. And they're consistently ringing you. And that's not obviously all the leads, but generally speaking, on average, across a lot of different industries, around 10 to 20% of leads that you generate online, either they don't answer or they're fake inquiries. So, or it's someone spamming them saying, do you want to buy some guest posts from us on the website and stuff like that? So they're like, I don't want to pay for these leads. And you're kind of saying, you won't. Like, just tell us what invalids and we'll reimburse you any money for the invalids. The issue it starts to be is that you need to have a sales team to run lead generation. So as you're running a lead generation team, it's difficult because you need a large sales team, like you said, to run it. Where a rank and rent model, what normally starts to happen is if they're used to paying on average maybe £3,000-4,000 a month or £5,000-6,000 a month, if you was to set a fee once they've been with you for a while to say, look, on average you're paying £5,000 a month. What happens if you just do a rank and rent? We don't kind of log every single inquiry that happens. You just pay a flat fee of £4,000. They should be happy because they've been used to paying £5,000 a month. And you might say, well, why would you do that model? Like, why, if you're earning 5,000, would you knock it down to 4? Well, one, you need to give a little bit of meat on the bone to make them think, actually, do you know what? This is a good deal for them. But two, then it's predictable income for us. So we know exactly what's happening. They're happy to rent it out. We don't need the kind of sales team to keep logging every single inquiry, checking whether it's not an invalid or it's a valid kind of inquiry. And it just works better all around. They're happier. And actually, long term, we're happier because it's less management involved.
Gotcha. So do you actually like edit in like all their like phone numbers and everything on the website so it just contacts them directly, or how does it all work?
So what we normally do is we'll normally do like a Twilio number, call rail, or Invoco, which is like where you rent a number. It costs like $1 a month to rent the number. It might be a local number to wherever they're based. So let's say in the UK, if you're based in Manchester, it's like an 0161 number. So you'd go and rent an 0161 number, and then that number then can redirect either to their office or to their mobile number, wherever it is that you want to redirect it. You don't really want to be putting their number on just in case something bad was to happen where they stop trading or something like that and you lost that number, and that's on all this kind of citations and directories and stuff like that. You've got ownership of the number that way. So but in general, yes, in time, once they've moved to a rank and rent model, they've generally been with us for over 12 months. We've got a good, trusted relationship with them. They're happy and we're happy. And at that point, they'll be sending us all their photos of stuff like previous jobs that they've done. They'll be sending us all the videos of jobs that they might have done. And sometimes, yeah, we can use their address. It could be their office address. It could be the warehouse address. It could be the director's address. So we can put in a real address on the site, a telephone number on the site. We can even put some of their members of staff on like the Meet the Team page and stuff like that, especially if they've got a LinkedIn account or a Twitter account. So you're kind of ticking all the boxes for EEAT. There's real people behind the site, and yeah, it works well. And obviously they're happy to do it because they know that they're getting exclusivity on the leads. So the clients are actually really happy with it because it's a no-brainer for them, where they know after a while that they're going to make a return on investment of the rental of the site because they've worked with us for a long time. It's the first 6 to 12 months it can be tricky. Like, so many people come and contact me and go, I tried rank and rent and it didn't work. And I'm like, you can't just go straight into rank and rent. You need to start off by doing SEO, maybe even doing display ads to start earning a little bit of money off the site. Then you might progress then into lead generation. And then after lead generation, then you can move to rank and rent. Because if someone doesn't know who you are, so let's say Nick says that he's tried a few times to do rank and rent. If you go straight to the model of, do you want to rent my website for £1,000 a month? And they don't know what traffic level you're getting, they don't know what type of inquiries you're getting, it's a hard sell because they don't even know what they're renting out. Where if you kind of go down the lead generation model and they've had the leads, they've converted a few of the leads, and from there then they're saying, yeah, this works, and you give them an offer that's slightly less than what they're already paying, they're going to go down the route of saying, yes, we're happy to do that. And then from there, then they start to put a lot more trust in you. So they start telling you basically all the juicy keywords, because too many people are using SEMrush or Ahrefs for doing the keyword research. And if you're really advanced, people think, oh, well, I'll sort by CPC on like cost per click on pay per click and go, oh, these are the big keywords. But the truth of the matter is, speaking to the business owner and asking them what they're best at converting, and one plumber to the next plumber or one roofer to the next plumber, they might be better at converting, whether it's flat roofing or pitched roofing or slate roofing or blue roofing or brown roofing or biodiverse roofing, heritage roofing. Within just roofing, there's 10 different like sub-industries and subtopics. Now, one of them might say, no, we are no good at flat roofing. We only do slate roofing. And this is just one example, obviously. So you go down the kind of rabbit hole of, right, okay, well, let's get into doing this. And then further down the line, you might realize that the slate roofing that they're really good at is heritage roofing for churches. And that's kind of how you almost go down the route of, we are the church roofing experts. It's always a pitched roof. It's always slate roofing. Churches have generally got good budget. And then you go, oh, that's great. And that's kind of, when you start speaking to these business owners, they're telling you where the money is. And then a lot of the time, what the stuff that they tell you, whether it's like I said, heritage roofing and stuff like that, you look at it in Google Search Console, or when it's coming through, or you look at it in Ahrefs, and it's quite, the keyword difficulty is relatively easy to go after. And they're telling you that it's a profitable keyword. So what better kind of site and kind of set up to go after than the stuff that they're saying that they convert well for?
Gotcha. So yeah, so your basic kind of process is like rank a website, maybe start doing some like lead gen, like actually selling the leads, then kind of sweeten the deal and turn that into a rank to rent relationship. And then after that happens, you kind of develop a further partnership with them and might actually start putting more of them like on the website and having more of a back and forth dialogue with things you can go after and stuff like that. Is that about right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, further down the line, what normally starts to happen as well is, I mean, we've been doing this for quite a long time. So I don't know many who's got a bigger portfolio than what we have online. It's only in the UK. We don't kind of go outside of the UK. I'd be very surprised if there's anyone in the UK that generates more inquiries than what we do on a week by week basis. But what starts to happen is some of these business owners then start to want me to get involved as like an investor within the company, because actually what starts to happen, and this sounds, probably your first reaction to this will be, well, it's a good problem to have, is we start to generate them more leads than what they can deal with. And you say, well, oh, that's a great problem. But the point is, it's still a problem, because if they're not getting back to these inquiries very quickly, I'm getting annoyed, because I'm like, I want them to make certain they're getting the most out of the leads to make certain that they're making good profit. So if it's taken a while, what we can start to do is we also own, and I've not really said this on one or two other podcasts, we also own a large call center. So there's times where we could say, well, look, you train us up on, I'm just going down the road of heritage roofing for this podcast for the sake of it. So if we're generating inquiries for it, you train us up with the general spiel of what you need, which might be the size, some photos, and do you have a budget in mind, right? And just initially start to get that information, because that will weed out maybe 50% of the inquiries that come back that aren't willing to get photos, not willing to get photos. They're probably not serious about having it done, right? They need to try and get some sort of photos, even if it's just from a distance. I'm not saying go up and climb on the roof and get the photos, but if it was like a playground or something else, go and get some photos, go and tell us what it is that you're looking for. Is there anything specific that you've kind of done research for like, let's say, what type of slate roofing that it is? Come back to us. We'll then get all the information, and then we change it from like a cold web lead to like a hot lead. And because not only have they inquired saying, oh, they'll offer a price for heritage roofing, now they're giving us all the information, and then we can send it through to the clients that way. But I only really do that when I have some sort of investment in the company, and then it's almost like a sales generation. And we could go one step further and do the quotes if we felt it was worth it for us, because you get some of the very good electricians or plumbers or tarmac companies, and they might not be in the office until the weekend. They might be away himself doing some of the installation. But there might be a really good company that we might say, well, do you know what? We'll take the inquiries and we'll do the pricing for you. But let's kind of, at that point, it could even be cut in like investment opportunities that we own part of that stuff.
Yeah, it's interesting. What percentage of your portfolio, of your rent to rent portfolio, would you say that you are also an investor of the company?
I'll probably say about 3%, something like that. So not many. But we're in hundreds and hundreds of niches. So there's probably about 20 different businesses when you look at it that way that I'm involved in as a direct investor or director. Like we've got one which is like a road markings company, doing like the double yellow lines and stuff like that. And the reason why we kind of went into that is because it ties in with, we do quite a lot of lead generation for road traffic management. So like when I got into road markings, they need road traffic management, and it kind of cross sells to each other. So you almost like, imagine when you build a website and you're looking to build topical authority and you have all internal links like a spider's web. We've kind of done that offline with businesses, like what business can feed another business, which can feed another business, which can feed another business. And that's kind of how we how we started to build it out
Yeah,
for what we do.
building a little empire.
Very cool.
So yeah, getting back to like your portfolio, can you briefly just tell us a little bit about the size of your basically the number of sites that you're renting out right now, and also the size of the team that you have behind this?
So we've got over 1,000 websites that we've built. I think there's about 1,200 websites in total that we've built out. But I think there's about, to be fair, this can vary. I think there's about 850 sites of the 1,200 that are actually earning some sort of money, whether it's lead generation, whether it's ranking rents, whether it's display ads, right? From that, I reckon probably around 650 are ranking rents. So we've been with us for a while, 650, we've agreed a rate. I mean, some of them could only be £200, £300, £400 a month, but some of them can be £25,000 a month. So it completely varies on the niche and how many inquiries that we're generating for how much it can earn. But obviously, the sites that are only earning maybe £200-300 a month might have only cost us £5,000 to rank it, where the ones at 25 or 20 grand or 15 grand a month, that might have cost us 200,000 to rank it. But still, it normally works out because don't get me wrong, we've failed a lot throughout the years. But now I feel like SEO's very predictable. I know people might laugh at that, and there's been a lot of updates and stuff like that, but especially in local or in certain kind of industries, it's you build a good technical site that's not got any errors, and it loads pretty fast, and it converts, and it's got like all the EEAT signals on there. Build good quality content, build topical clusters, so you've got topical authority, and build links. And if you try and cut one of them corners and don't do one of them pillars correctly, you'll struggle to rank. But if you do all of them well, you will rank. And what really frustrates me about the industry is how some people go out there in kind of groups saying you don't need links to build good quality content. And then some people that are link builders like, oh, you just cheap out on your content. And you're like, no, build good quality content, build out topical authority, and build links mainly to the homepage with like branded and naked URLs, but then start hitting links to your category pages and your money pages. In general, we don't actually do that many links to money pages. That's the last thing of what we hit. But it's not rocket science. And to be fair, everybody's got the blueprint. Some people want a knowledge bomb. And sometimes I sit there and I say, the knowledge bomb is get your right SOPs and good members of staff and start now today. Start building a site today. Because actually, last time I spoke to you 4 months ago, you're in exactly the same position as you was 4 months ago. And I told you what to do. And you didn't start, you procrastinated, and then you come back to me asking the same questions. And at that point, I feel it's disrespectful. So go and do what I told you to do. Go and do those 4 pillars and do it.
Yeah, it is disrespectful.
It is. Yeah.
They just don't want to do it. And that's the problem.
It's the corner cutting race, right? But that's interesting about your link building method as well, because that's pretty much the exact same method that we preach to people like in our group and stuff. We're always trying to help people just kind of link building best practices, and we preach a lot of homepage building, category pages, hub pages, anything that links out to a bunch of stuff, like pillar content pieces or whatever, and then go and hit like money pages as well, but don't just like spam your money pages, right? So lots of natural linkers too.
So why do you do that? Because it
works. It works. Builds the overall authority of the site. It's safe.
So, and you're educating people. That's what they need to do. And I'm educating people on top of that. They need to do good quality content and topical authority. So why are they not doing it? And the point is because they're cheap out. Like you guys do quality links. So you do all the foundational links. You do all the PBMs. You do the guest posts. You do the niche edits, right? There's no different realistically from, there is a little bit with regards to toxic links and trust and stuff like that, and certain power of what you can get. But you guys are an amazing link vendor, right? So all that they need to do is write good quality content, whether they use Surfer SEO, Market Moves, whether they use onpage.ai, Phrase, ClearScope, whatever it is that they might want to use for good quality content. Go and do good quality content. Genuinely believe that you've covered that page topic in its entirety. then go and do what you guys preach. Go and get the foundational links to start with to the homepage, naked URLs and branded anchors. Go and get a couple of the PBNs to go and get some power through to it. Go and get a few of the guest posts and the niche edits to some of the category pages and kind of pillar posts that you're doing. And then probably the last one, tap a few guest posts directly to the money pages that are really, really relevant, kind of what people call like reversing costs, when that's super matching up the relevance. And that's it. And there's no, if someone's watching this and they're like, oh, I wanted a knowledge bomb. Oh, that's your knowledge bomb. Don't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Just go do everything right.
Yeah, people don't like
yeah.
it. They hate this answer. They hate, I think Diggity might have made this phrase, but we're in the age of kind of like do all the things in SEO, right? And people hate that answer. They hate it so much. They just want like the easy answer where you just have to do this and you can save all your time doing the other stuff.
Yeah,
but it's just not
you
the way
mean
it
I
is
can't
anymore.
just spin content and put up a site in like, 5 hours and then have it ranking within a week by spamming it out?
And you keep the
Sorry,
rankings
bro.
for years.
I do remember those days though.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. But it's long gone, I think, for the majority of people. Yeah.
For sure. So yeah, James, what's like the typical size of these sites that you're building? I know there's probably quite a big like variation, but like if you just give us an idea, like how many sites are you doing that are like these big like national sites or even international, where you just have like tons of location pages all doing like the same service or whatever, versus
go on, sorry. We don't have any international. They're all UK and Ireland of what we have. Some might be completely national in UK and Ireland. So there's 43,476 villages, towns, and cities in the UK. So if you just had one service and you wanted to kind of go after every area in the UK, there's over 43,000 pages to go after. Majority of kind of companies don't work fully nationwide. So they might work like the Scotland and the north of England. Some might work just within 30 miles of London. So it depends on the client, if I'm being honest. Like if they only want leads that's within an hour's drive of them, that's kind of what we'll build out. So we might build a 100 location page site. Some we might build a 500 location page site. There is some that we've built out that have got, I think, 1.2 million pages. For being 100% honest, like, do I struggle to rank every single page? Yes, of course I do. Like Google's, like, I need an insane amount of, I probably need a DR, not that DR can manipulate, but like you need like some sort of DR80 site that's amazing content, amazing silo, new velocity of content being done, new velocity of links being done on a consistent basis to get all them indexed.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of juice to pass around.
Even if I can just get 50% of those indexed, and you can use certain ways, whether you're using like Amiga indexer or you can do like mass tweets, and you can do certain things like that to try your best to try to get more pages in the index. You'll never get them all in the index, but like you said, even 50% of the site, that's 600,000 pages in the index. Yeah. It's probably going to generate you 40, 50 inquiries a day if that happens. And at that point, if you're in a good niche, especially in the finance industry, that alone could be earning you approximately about 80 grand a month.
Nice.
There's some like, I don't really talk about this too much, but I'll say it on here. We make quite a lot of money in the finance sector, and that's what kind of goes through to the call center. So from there, then whether it's like invoice factoring is quite a good one, or business loans or mortgages, and what you start finding is when you get really good at lead gen, and as I was talking about the spider's web, if you think about this, what person would be looking at their pension? Would it be a young person or an old person?
Old person, most likely, I'm guessing.
Old person, right? Yeah. So we try to then start thinking, okay, what else might they be looking for? They're probably going to be 55 plus. What else might they be looking for? And they might also be looking for something that's called equity release, which is where you're releasing equity out of your house because you want to go on a really nice cruise and you want to spend some of your money that you've got in your house. You've worked really hard all your life and you want to get some money out of your house, right? So when someone inquires for a pension, On the thank you page, we might also say, oh, by the way, we've got some amazing deals on equity release. Are you interested in this? And if they tick yes, that's a lead now for my equity release company as well. If they also say, would you be interested in sorting out your will? Like if you're getting a will written or lasting power of attorney, which is in the UK is called an LPA. If they say yes to that, I can sell that to a will writing company. So next minute, before I know it, that one lead I've now, and each company's only had it, like they've all got exclusive leads, but now a pension provider's got a lead, an equity release company's got a lead, and a will writing company's got a lead. So it kind of ties in that I managed to sell 3 leads, all exclusive, like, or not even selling. It could, like I said, it could be on the ranking rents, and they could be a good client. So it's just trying to think of ways, like majority of the time when you, let's say the mortgages, when you first get into doing mortgages, majority of the time when you get a mortgage, especially let's say you're moving in the house with your wife, right? At that point, you might start looking for life insurance because you're getting a mortgage on your house and you're saying, look, if one of us pass away here, we want to get the mortgage kind of paid off. But if I try and sell you life insurance at any point in your life, you're probably like, no, get away, I don't want it. But at the time of you getting a mortgage is probably the best time that you might want life insurance. So you do what's called cross-selling or upselling. So there's all little things like that and different nuances like that of what you can do, which isn't just SEO related, but it's maximizing the money that you can earn. And that's why I think that's why we're good, because there's so many people come to me going, well, can only earn £200, £300 a month off that site. And I'm like, give it to me and I bet I can earn two grand a month off that site. You're probably just not finding the right customers who's going to deal with it in the correct manner and give you the kickbacks that you deserve.
I feel like we're starting to get we're starting to get like an idea for the scope of your business. Like you know, when you take 650 sites now and you start factoring in this kind of thing, it starts to feel like okay, this is going to be a ton of work.
To be honest with you though, like if I recommended someone to do, like, I wouldn't recommend someone else to do what I've done. Like, it's not easy. You need a massive team. Are you going to have problems with staff? Yes. Are you going to have problems with staff ringing in sick on a Monday morning because they've been out all weekend? Yes. Are you going to have VAs that just leave? Yes. Like, it's not all kind of rainbows and sunshine. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course you have problems within the business. So people just want to hear the high level, top level. Oh my God, you're crushing it. And you're like, yeah, but the team have got loads of problems as well. Like, but they don't want to hear about that. They just want to hear about the good stuff. So what I would recommend is, if someone's happy with earning £15,000 a month, go and build 5 websites, right? And of them 5 websites, one of them might do well, 4 of them might fail. But that one that does well will far outweigh the losses of the 4 that you've lost. You're not going to have a high success rate. You're going to fail more times than you do well on. So what we did when we was failing back in our day of entering what we thought might have been a good kind of industry, anything that we was generating leads on that was finding it hard to monetize was changed to display ads, or we put it in our testing pool for our R&D testing team to say, go and play around with that, go and break Google, go and do whatever you can do, push the boundaries on exact match anchors, push the boundaries on how many links you can build, push the boundaries on now like AI content. Go and do whatever you want with that site. And if you tank it, I'm not bothered. Come back with data with how far you managed to get away with it. And there's times we've got now some display ad sites that are earning 15 grand a month, just with AI content, just with what you deem to be spammy kind of backlink profile that have got exact match anchors and stuff like that. And you're like, how's that even working? And then I've got other sites where I've actually tried to do well on it and tried to build up my content velocity and tried to build good quality content, topical authority, and good links. And in the latest update, I've had 2 sites hit that, in my opinion, shouldn't be hit. Now, obviously, there's a lot of people go, oh my God, I've had my sites that have been hit with a penalty. I've had 2 sites hit within the penalty hard, probably lost 50% of the traffic. And everyone says, oh, I don't deserve it. I don't deserve it. I genuinely think I don't deserve it. But the worst thing is, I've had probably 10 sites jump up and overtake my 2 sites that have gone down that I've not updated in 2 years. So I'm like, they don't deserve to be outranking them. So in my opinion, the latest update has been like, don't get me started on that. I feel like
yeah, there's a lot of
mess.
chaos right now. No one's too happy with Google these days.
Man, your business model for the rent to rent thing you've got going reminds me of how I got my start in SEO, which was working for a company that was rent to rent, had, you know, hundreds of sites, and then a couple call centers, but predominantly, you know, that was all outbound sales calls, which is what I did for that company. But like 500 people doing outbound calls. Is your call center predominantly doing like outbound calls for these leads that are coming in, or are they taking in calls?
Both. So what will happen is the call center generally is when an inquiry comes, we won't do cold calling, but when someone inquires, we've got KPIs set up within the call center. We need to ring it within 23 seconds. So there's times where for certain industries, we've rang up the client, pretty much closed the client and sent a quote prior to even the next company even ringing them. Like that's how efficient kind of the process is. We don't do cold outbound calls, but like I said, when they fill in the form, we ring them within 23 seconds, or sometimes the telephone numbers that are on the website for the inbound calls, they'll take them as well. But it's just difficult because, like you said, a 500-person call center, I couldn't think of anything worse than managing a 500-person call center. Like we fluctuate from 90 to maybe 120 in the call center, and it's a massive headache.
Dude, I couldn't imagine. Yeah, wrangling in a lot of stuff. Now, mind you, this was predominantly doing like Jordan Belfort type outbound cold calling all day long, right? But still, just I feel like there's so many variables in managing that many people, you know, taking different kinds of leads, etc. Yeah,
and is that call center all local, or some of it, you know, people in other countries as well?
So we've got an overflow call center in the Philippines for nighttime kind of shift. And then the two we've split up into 3 8-hour shifts. So the nighttime shift is in the Philippines. The 2 daytime shifts, so like the early morning till maybe, I think it's like 4 o'clock, and then 4 o'clock till midnight. That's all based near Manchester. It's a place in Levenshulme. So yeah, it's all Manchester based, so all UK English speaking people that are doing those. And to be fair, it kind of works well, because sometimes if you outsource it to, let's say, Bangladesh or Philippines or South Africa or Venezuela and stuff like that, which are all quite good places to get like virtual assistants, then the English, they know that you've shipped it abroad. And I feel like you need to have English speaking people dealing with a UK lead, or Scottish dealing with Scotland and stuff like that. Just to convert, just from the data, the conversion rate, it's just a lot better.
It's going to increase trust flow, I would think, you know, for them to think that they're talking to a local person or something like that.
And
for sure.
And that Manchester call center, is that something you actually set up yourself, or is it like a call center that's already there and you kind of like contract through it or something?
No, so we set it up probably about 7 years ago. We had a close friend now. He actually works in a pig farm. We called it a pig farm. Basically, it was like a wooden kind of, on a farmer's field, a wooden hut. We ended up getting like 6 people in there, and then we just kept building it up. But our issue was the internet access was like ridiculous, because it was in the middle of a farm. So when we're trying to kind of send documents through for like mortgage brokers and bank statements, and it was just taking ages on the Wi-Fi and the internet. So at that point, we needed to like level up and get a bigger size. So then we got like a 30-person call center in the center of Manchester. Our issue was in the center of Manchester, the rent was high for big areas. And then in Levenshulme is like, I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's quite a rough area of Manchester. No disrespect to anyone who's from Levenshulme, like, but it's easy to get to. It's not real. It's easy for parking. So there's not like, it's not within the city centre where it's hard for parking. It's hard to get to. There's traffic and all that. So it just made it a lot easier to kind of recruit in that area than it was in the centre of Manchester. And then from there, then it's just expanded and expanded. We bought the warehouse next door, and yeah, it's grown
Gotcha.
to a nice.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And so also speaking of phone calls, what are you guys doing about GMBs or GBPs, Google My Business, whatever you want to call it?
So over the years, I've had a lot of problems with GMBs, a lot. There's so many people out there that, I can create you a GMB and stuff like that, and then they just get suspended. And the worst part is that we used to mass create GMBs, and the issue was that they only got suspended when they started ranking. So you end up spending a lot of money on citations, spending a lot of money on whether people do like driving directions, filling out all the posts, doing all the photos, and then it gets suspended. And you're just like, it's just not, for me, it's just not a business model that it doesn't entertain me, because I want long-term sustainable rankings. I've got staff that I need to keep making certain that we can pay. I don't want to wake up one morning and 1,000 GMBs have all gone down.
Yeah.
So we kind of, because of that, and I mean, I know people that are out there creating the GMBs, and they'll obviously fake the address, and then when Google sends a suspension, they'll go and doctor, like Photoshop, like the address, like bank details and stuff like that. But the issue is, it's just blatant fraud. And Google, actually, I don't know if you knew about the lawsuit, but like a few months ago, someone got done for it. And I'm just like, I'm a prime candidate for someone like Google to come after, where like, I just don't want that hanging over my head in thinking I'm actually doing something that's fraudulent. So if our clients that take the leads aren't willing to allow us to use their address, we just don't create a GMB for the site.
Yeah.
Where sometimes they say, yeah, by all means, you can use our address. Now, obviously, if they've already got a GMB, we won't bother, because we can't have two GMBs at the same location and stuff like that. Previously, we've tried to do it where you do like 25A or 25B and set up like a suite number and stuff like that. But I just want to do things right. And I know it sounds very white hat, because I came from a bit of a black hat background, and I feel like I've gone very white hat, and I'm looking for long-term sustainable kind of rankings. And I think Google have done a good job at cleaning up the industry, if I'm being honest. So
we're actually the same way. We used to be, I think, quite a bit more black hat than we are now. But once you start making some money, you want to protect it, right? You don't want to be doing all this, like, for sure. So if the client has a GMB, you use the GMB. Otherwise, you're basically just saying, okay, so much for maps. We'll just bank on, organic clicks.
And don't get me wrong, Chris, right? That's probably bad advice, because if you can get a GMB can create you a lot of inquiries. I'm not denying that a GMB is not good for a site. But if you can get a GMB and build that GMB out, it actually helps the website rank better. And if your website's ranking well, it helps the GMB rank better. So it's not just about like engagement on the GMB. If the website that's connected through to it, if that's ranking well, the GMB will rank well. So there's a lot of trust signals there if you can get one made. I just don't go down the route of faking it, because it's just going to lead to suspensions, and like you said, it can lead to a lot of other issues further down the line that I don't need.
Could you imagine being that guy and getting the, whatever legal document sent by the world's largest, or, one of the largest corporations in the world, and be like, holy shit, I'm done. Like, what are you going to do at that point?
It is blatant fraud, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, we all try and do things to, like, you guys do PBNs and try and things, but and some people go, that's illegal. It's illegal, but it's not actually illegal. Like, do you know what I mean? There's nothing illegal in doing something like that. It's frowned upon in the industry, but then these same people that frown upon a PBN frown upon buying links and say, oh, it's against Google guidelines, it's illegal. It don't mean it's illegal. Do you know what I mean?
It's frowned upon is fine. Yeah, we'll do frowned upon. We don't do fraud.
Definitely staying away from the illegal side of things. Okay, so going back to kind of like a little bit of an SEO focus on things, and we kind of talked about this before, about just doing all the things for SEO. But are there any specific strategies that you guys really like to use right now as far as ranking these sites?
So we build good quality content. We try and make certain that we think of every kind of topic and question that someone might want to know for that product or service that people are doing. Write all them pages. You guys do some, I think one or two of my different companies buy quite a lot of links from SirLinksalot on the foundational links and some of the stuff of what you do. I've got I try not to get too involved in the day-to-day of I've got one or two companies that'll buy. Obviously, I'm an investor in Searcheroo, but then I've got another company that says, no, I like the foundational links and stuff from you guys and the PBNs and the guest spots. So it's just better the devil than no. And if they've got a process of ordering from you, then let that be. So it kind of just goes down the route exactly what you was preaching before. Build a lot of citations, build a lot of trusted, branded, naked URL links to the homepage. Start hitting a few category pages with some links, generally with some PBNs, maybe one or two PBNs to the homepage as well. Start getting some guest posts throughout the whole site for relevance that's coming through. A few niche edits which aren't as relevant but might send more power and trust through the site. It's hard to really line up relevance on a niche edit or link insertion, stuff like that. And a lot of time that's enough. If it's not, you probably need to write more articles for more topical authority and build more links.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of how it works. And there's no secret apart from that. Something that we do, one or two little tricks of what we do is we try and make certain, I'm sure you've heard of parasite SEO.
Mm-hmm.
We try to make certain that our guest posts, all of our guest posts, we kind of treat as parasite SEO. So we try to rank our guest posts for the keywords that we want our money site to rank for, so that in an ideal world, for me, I want us to rank number 1, and I want our guest post to rank number 2 for the keyword that we want to go after. And what better way of getting traffic from, let's say, the position number 2, which goes back to position number 1. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of how we do it. Mm-hmm. We do quite a lot of tier 2s to our guest posts.
What do you like to use for tier 2?
We've actually got our own network in Searcheroo. So we've got a lot of old PBNs and niche edits. So we might have certain relationships with a lot of blog owners that might turn around and say, right, okay, if you're going to buy X amount of guest posts from us, if you're going to buy X amount of guest posts, we'll allow X amount of niche edits. So with the niche edits, the guest posts, the tier 2, that we get, we're only selling at $20 each, and it's for a niche edit. Now, if I'm being 100% honest, some of them are buying them for money sites as well, because they're actually pretty good, and they do move. But tier 2s that work pretty well. And I only really tier them to the guest posts. But I'm sure your PBNs would work an amazing way for powering up the guest posts. If you're not selling many of them, I'd recommend to your clients in saying, if someone's paying quite a lot on the guest posts, get them powered up, because they might be a high DR 50, but if the internal linking to it's not great, then the page level is not very strong. So start tapping a few tier 2s through to that. That's generally it. There's no massive knowledge bombs in that, apart from something else that we try to do is, if we've got an author on the site or a name on the Meet the Team page, we try to make certain in the guest post that we'll be mentioning them as well. So if ever someone like a Google Quality Rater came to look at the site and Google the name of the author with the topic or the industry, these articles will be showing up saying, oh, these are an expert in heritage roofing. Do you know what I mean? And then obviously
get some expertise out there, because I know the quality raters actually do that. They'll search for your name and then look around to see where you're mentioned and stuff. So that's a good idea. Getting those guest posts.
They'll search for, let's say, Nick Altimore minus SirLinksalot.co, and obviously then links. So they kind of say where on the internet. Now, obviously for links, it's not really an area that EAAT is a big thing. But let's say it's to do with finance. They might come along and say something like Nick Altimore, FCA, minus nickfinance.com, if that's your website, and see where on the internet are people saying that you're an expert that's not on your website, and do you have a brand cert for it? And if you don't, well, we might not trust your articles that you're writing about finance, because realistically, you probably would have an FCA license, which will have an FCA profile, and you'd have certain other kind of people talking about you and stuff like that. So that's something else that, if I'm being honest with you, up until about 12 months ago, I thought EEAT was like a myth. I thought it was one of them things that was going throughout the industry. Same with disavows. I thought disavows and EEAT was a myth for many, many years. And it was one of them that I'd love to go out and say, you're talking so much garbage. It's not even a thing. Until no, that they're like businesses now that I bought. So I love kind of getting my teeth into website recovery quite a lot. And we get, still to this day, and I don't know whether you know this or you don't, there's probably 2 or 3 manual action link penalties that still happen today. I heard Kyle Roof the other day talking on with Gail Britton, and he was like, when was the last time you heard a manual action link penalty? And I was like, Kyle, like there's several every week that's still happening now to this day. It's not, they've not stopped it. But
we haven't seen one in a while, actually.
Yeah, I haven't
we're in the
either.
It's been quite a while. You know, we haven't had, at least we haven't any clients complain or anyone in our like managed link building program or whatever.
Generally speaking, it's in the finance industry, money your life industry, or actually quite a lot of them is in Google News. So if you've got like a big Google News site, the only reason why I start to know about it now is we actually got hit, I think it was about 4.5 years ago, with a manual action penalty. And I didn't have a clue like what to do. So it's in Google Search Console. They've emailed you, you've got a manual action penalty. What do you do? Oh, you need to do a reconsideration request. Right, okay, who does this? Who's the godfather of disavows? Who's the main guy in the world that can get me out of this? Because the site was earning like 40 grand a month at the time. And everybody, all fingers pointed to Rick Lomas. He's like, Rick Lomas is God. He's unbelievable. He's God of it. So I went and met him. He's from the UK. So I went and met him, and he basically started to say, look, I'm looking to wind down. I'm looking to like semi-retire. Obviously, I'll do the disavow for you. And I'm like, mate, train me up. Like, I buy so many links just for me knowing what a good link looks like. Train me up. Because I never, at that time, I didn't use trust and I didn't use toxicity. All that I thought was, if I get a high DR with traffic and with relevance, I've got the holy grail of link building, until he starts talking to me about trust and toxicity. And at that point, I'm like, I don't even know what you mean. Like, you're talking gobbledygook to me. And then I got trained up on it. And then from there, I was like, oh, and now we do all of Rick's disavows now. So because he's like the godfather of link manual kind of action penalties, we now do the fulfillment for Rick. And Rick's a great guy. He's kind of more than semi-retired. He's almost retired now. But because we're SEOs, we do our best. And sometimes for about a year, me and Rick was banging heads with each other. I'm like, I don't want to disavow this link. It's got trust and it's got power and it's IDR and it's relevant and it's a branding anchor text. And he's like, but it's toxic. And we kind of know, I don't feel we're as aggressive as what Rick Lomas was. But we get him out of the penalty, but we still try and keep as many of the high-powered, high-trust links that's pointing through to the site. And then same with EEAT. I don't know if you ever heard of an author transparency penalty. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So we had a Google News site, and it was doing really well. It kept getting Google discovery. Bam, manual action penalty. And this is recent. This is like maybe 3 months ago. Manual action penalty. I'm like, oh God, I've got a link penalty. Well, clicked onto it. Author transparency penalty. I was like, what even is this? And then I went through it, and it's literally, I can send you through the image of it from Google Search Console, author transparency penalty. And I've only ever known now anybody in the finance, your money, your life, and the Google News sector get them at present. But I'm being told that, and you don't know, but I'm being told they're going to be rolling out algorithmically a little bit more. So from that, I've just now started to, I set up an EEAT SEO kind of brand. And you know what? It's just ticking the boxes. Like, for the sake of when you're building out a site, build an about us page, a meet the team page, have a telephone number on there, have an email address on there where if someone wants to complain about your site, about something, they can get hold of you. Try not to hide the contact page. Do you know what I mean? Like, just have a privacy policy, a cookie policy. Just, again, and I know it sounds very blasé, but just do all things right. Just do what a real business would do.
That's the same exact thing we tell people. Just like do what a normal business would do. Try not to be sketchy.
Don't cut corners. I mean, like, you know, if a regular business is doing it, go ahead and set it up like a regular business.
But for you guys, it could work amazing. For SirLinksalot, it could work amazing because realistically, you could start almost selling EEAT link building. Because if you start to, like you said, mention the author in the guest post, how are you saying it's an EEAT link building service? Do you know what I mean?
Like, it's a good idea, really.
You should be doing it.
I like that.
You should do it. 100% you should do it. Because then you're ticking, like, why waste? So many people build a guest post.
Right.
And all right, they might line up the relevance, but they're wasting so many things. Like, why not on that guest post, get an image embed, get a video embed, mention the NAP listing and mention the author. Like, they're still only getting one do follow contextual link to the site, but actually having an image embed and a video embed helps it indexing better as well. It's got a chance of that then ranking in Google Images and Google Videos, of that guest post getting that little bit more traffic. It's all those little minor wins that long term is what's going to stand you in good stead.
Right.
For sure.
Watch now. SirLinksalot EEAT link.
Newest product.
We'll see if we're first to market.
So that's a good idea.
Yeah, thanks for the hot tip, man.
For sure.
So back to rank to rent a little bit. So how, we talked about, you build the site, you rank the site, you start getting leads, you start selling leads. How are you finding your clients to sell these leads to initially? Like how are you finding them initially? Yeah.
So initially, let's say, again, we'll just use the heritage roofing. It doesn't matter what industry it is, but heritage roofing, we find that, let's say just roofing in general, because we might not know heritage roofing yet is good. So you go and build a roofing website, and generally speaking, what you do is you go out to every single person on the internet that is paying for PPC, for anything to do with roofing. You go on to Yellow Pages, anyone who's paying for like Yellow Pages premium advertising. You go and Checkatrade, anyone who's paying to be part of that directory. Anyone in any newspaper that's kind of doing any sort of ads. If you listen to someone on the radio and you hear that they're doing anything to do with roofing, you go and find any company that's paying some money for advertising, and you contact them saying, we can generate your roofing leads, right? And on that website, you might have 30 different companies, right? But you're not promising any one of them exclusive leads. You're just saying, we might be able to generate you leads for roofing. Are you interested? Completely for free. All's what we ask you to do. You don't pay anything for the leads. If it's one of our leads, add 5% on top of your price for us, right? Are you still going to be competitive if you do that? They go, yeah, not a problem. So you're going, right, okay, so if it's a 10 grand job, just go in at £10,500. The majority of the time, that's not going to lose them the job. And if they win it, the one that wins it, we get £500 from. What it actually starts to tell you is the ones that win it and give you the 500 quid are the best at converting the leads, because they're the one that's converted it. So at that point now, you're not testing, you're not like, well, how do you know the company's good at conversion? Well, you don't know they're good at conversion until you start to realize who's won the job. Do you get what I mean? So like at that point, some of them start becoming annoyed because you're going, oh, you're sending it to 30 companies. And you go, yeah, no, we are. Like, I never told you get exclusive leads. And those that are going, oh, but they're cheaper than us, right? They just pay me 500 quid commission. You didn't pay me anything. So I'd sooner go to someone that's going to win more work.
Right. And complaining about your free leads.
Yeah, so, that's the problem I kept running into was, you'd send them leads, but then, I don't know, depending on the type of blue collar worker, especially that I was working with, they'd be like, oh, well, I don't know, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, if I can't talk rational sense and data with you, then, it's not going to work out eventually.
Yeah. You need to kiss a lot of frogs to find your princess. Do you know what I mean? So, like,
for sure.
You've just got to go out and have a broad, like, the ones that realistically this is what normally happens. You send out to 30, 15 of them come ringing you up going, turn me off. You sent it out to loads of people and you switch them off, right? The other 15, maybe 10 out of them 15 have created a Google sheet that have logged every single inquiry that's come in and told you where the lead's up to and what commission that they've added on. And you go, these are the companies I want to work with, right? And there's not every company out there that do that. But they're the ones that you want to work with, the ones that log every inquiry and tell you where they're up to. Not that I want to go and sit in every single Google sheet to find out where people are up to or not, but you want them to have some sort of system that you know that they're tracking it end to end from inquiry coming into the source is us and what commission they've added on. And at that point you go, I like these, I can trust these. And that's when then further down the line, they start to trust you a little bit more. They'll win a few jobs. They probably made some good profit off it. And then from that generic roofing website, you then can start going down the road of saying, right, that's a website that is just roofing. What is it that you do that you're really good at? It's like someone coming to you selling you digital marketing leads, and loads of people are coming through to you that are wanting PPC, Facebook ads, and web design. And you kind of, well, it's not really what we do. We do links.
Yeah.
Right? So then you build a website that's SEO, but then they're wanting loads of content being written. And you're like, oh, it's not really what I do. It's so like you kind of start on digital marketing, then it might move to SEO, and then you have to start realizing, actually, no, it's just links. It's not even content and parts of SEO. It's just links that we want. And then when you build a website on that, they're converting them exactly as they should be converting them because it's exactly what they want. And that's why you've kind of, but is there any way of finding that using SEMrush or Ahrefs? No. Like, is there any quick wins that you can do? Like, you be able to throw up a 500-page site? No. Like, it's hard work. I'm not going to tell you that it's easy because it's not. Do you know what I mean?
It's awesome the filter that you've got set up essentially, because then you, like you said, you are finding these very serious, open-minded kind of broad view business people that are willing to, do these exercises that you need to see if it's going to be symbiotic. And then eventually, if you can take over part of that company and help grow it, that's awesome. Because you've filtered out all the junk.
So something that I would say, and I've said this on a few different podcasts, and I think it's very, very, very important, is I now know, and there's a little bit of a problem where I've got to make certain internal my staff know this, and I've got to keep trying to instill into them that with a lot of power becomes a lot of responsibility. And we've got certain websites out there where some of them might be renting, like you said, let's call it 25 grand a month is on the upward side. There's some that maybe do slightly more, but generally speaking, let's say it's 15 to 25 grand on the higher end. Those clients might have grown from 2 vans on the road to 25 vans on the road, right? That now means that they've got 60 members of staff on the road in installation teams, that if I stop their inquiries, there's potentially 60 families that might not be able to pay the mortgage next month.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So at that point, it becomes a little bit scary because you're then starting to go, right, I need to make certain that I don't get hit with an algorithm update. Do you know what I mean? But right. the biggest part actually is making certain that my staff that are managing them sites don't get a phone call from the biggest competitor down the road and say, I know that, or they might say, how much is Chris renting your site for? Or all these leads are going through to Chris Roofing. And you go, yeah. And they go, they're paying 15 grand a month. And they go, I'll give you 20% extra. I'll give you 18 grand a month. We can't just switch them off because that's not fair, because they've built the business with us. We've built a business with them. We've got relationships with them, long-term relationships. Like we could, like we're not got a contract to say this is it. They own the site. We own the site. And at any point I could switch them off and I could say, no, that's it. But you're being switched off. And I just worry sometimes, and I don't, because it's like, I make certain that they wouldn't do it, but could a member of staff who gets commission on what the sites earn, would they want to earn an extra $3 grand a month? Of course they would. So for that, I've got to make certain that they're doing stuff with honest trust and integrity. And again, it's a good problem for me to sit on and have, but it's still a problem. And I've still got to make certain that the culture within the company is they're doing the right thing. And it's not, the right thing isn't always the most profitable thing.
Right.
So that's something else to take on. Again, it's like people might not be able to scale it like what we've scaled it. But all I do is, if you do start doing it, I'd like people to learn, just make certain you do things right, because things can come back to haunt you the further down the line. Like, I'm a big believer in karma and stuff like that. And just, I hate it when I hear people kind of mugging somebody else off, or I hate it when someone has done something to like earn a lot of money out of someone and rogue them in some way, shape, form. And just, I know I'm going off subject now from SEO, but I think it's very important that
yeah, I don't know if it is going off subject. I mean, I remember getting my start and having to go through all these different, situations like that, where it's like, I mean, I lost a fortune trying to figure out how, SEO works. And then comparative to, what we talked about earlier in this podcast, it's like the principles are pretty simple. It's all this confusion that's out there on purpose, so that people can suck money out of other people, that are creating these negative effects.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah, so in the interest of not keeping you here all night, I'm sure it's probably getting kind of late over there. I'm not really sure where you're at, but I'm assuming you're in the UK right now. Yeah, do you see any problems? We're talking about problems. Do you see any kind of like big problems for the rank and rent kind of business model moving forward? Or is it just kind of usual SEO stuff, just trying not to get hit by algo updates?
So my question back to you on that would be, there's potential issues where certain websites can take over you, but then you just reverse engineer why that's happened. It's the same with affiliate. It's the same with e-commerce, drop shipping, whatever industry that you're in. Are things going to change? Yes, absolutely. Are things going to change with AI? Yes, absolutely. Have you got to adapt? Yes, absolutely. But it's just part of SEO. Like, if anyone thinks that growth is linear, then you need to get out of the industry ASAP, because if you want to get from here to here, it's not one straight line that just goes, hey, it kind of like this.
Mm-hmm.
And there's going to be peaks and troughs. And yes, Nick mentioned before, you used to be able to roll up a 500-page site quite easily, spin the content, do a bit of GSA, SEO nuke, Money Robot, SEO Autopilot, and just spam it, and bam, you're ranking within a week.
Yeah.
And you can't do that anymore. You can't do it anymore.
No.
But things change, and you just got to keep adapting to what the changes are. They might put more emphasis on GMBs, and then I might have to get more involved in GMBs. They might put more emphasis on links, and then I need to get more links. They might put more emphasis on topical authority, and then I need to do more topical authority. But the truth of the matter is, if my site drops, they're going to have to replace it with another site that's better. And what other site out there is better than mine? And if I find another site that takes over me, I'm going to get back in the trenches and find out why they've overtaken me, and go and do everything I can to overtake them. So, and I'd love to have a fight with anyone on the work treadmill. I don't think I'll be beat. Like, I will work 23 hours a day if I need to, 7 days a week.
Nice.
So there's that, but yeah, I mean, you've got SGE that you could start saying, is that going to take stuff away? I don't think it will from lead generation. It might. Where a lot of people, I think, are going to get hit hard is when SGE fully rolls out. All the people that make money by doing display ads, I think, are going to get hit hard with how much earnings they're going to make, because I think a lot of the sites, the high traffic sites, because they're informational terms, and I think those informational terms are going to be answered by AI within SGE. So I think those people need to start looking at alternative ways of money. But some of these people that are sat on these display ad sites that are doing 2 million clicks a month, not being money, I'd love to manage some of them sites, because you could put lead gen on. There's so many different ways that you could earn money from it. You could put affiliate on it, you could put lead gen on it, obviously display ads on it, just tenancy on there. There's so many other ways of monetizing. It's like you could rent out the pixel to someone, like the Facebook for retargeting pixels. There's endless amount of ways of monetizing a site. I think there's a 17-point checklist that we have for how to monetize a site. right?
Mm-hmm.
And people just do display ads and put Ezoic or AdThrive or Mediavine on it and go, I'm earning money. And you're like, there's so many other ways with the traffic that you're getting that you could do to monetize that in a better way. So yes, the answer is I do worry for certain industries. Do I worry? I'm not losing any sleep at night because anything that does change, then I need to adapt my strategy. And that's what I've always done in the last 12, 13 years.
An SEO that sticks around, right? You got to adapt. I actually lied though. I've got one more question for you. Besides working 23 hours a day, what's your secret to scaling your rank and rent empire?
I couldn't do anything of what I do. Like I definitely don't work 23 hours a day. I've got 2 kids now, so I want to be super successful and I want to keep growing in work, but I also want to be the best dad in the world. So I want to make certain that I can switch off when I get home. I normally get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, go to the office, smash out as much work as I can. I normally start getting distracted from about 10 o'clock with like staff coming in the office and all the rest of it. They're coming earlier, but my first 4 hours, I feel like I've got flow state work done and I get all my work done then. Then I'm just speaking to the team and seeing how everybody is in the office who are all my like middle managers, which have all got like VAs and stuff working for them and graphic designers and videographers and stuff like that. Go to the gym at midday and then I try and spend time and switch off between like 3 and 7 every day going on bike rides and stuff with the kids. But how have I managed to scale it is previously just onboarded brilliant staff that you elevate, that you train up, that you spend time with, and you have really, really, really concise SOPs. So the 2 best things that we've got within the business is we've got an R&D testing team. So if someone turns around to me, if you came to me and says, PBNs are working better than ever, I'd be like, thank you very much, Chris, for that information. I'll go and test it. And I won't just go and rehash what you've just said, going to everybody else. PBNs work amazing. I'd go and test it and check. And I've probably already got the test data anyway, because we do some stuff with PBNs. But then you might say something else. And I go and test it. So that's one part that's good. And the other part is we employ 2 members of staff, and all what they do is work through the SOPs. Anyone who doesn't know, like standard operating procedures, like step-by-step processes of like how to order this, how to order this, how to do a content brief, how to do keyword research, just all the basics of every step. And I think there's 118 SOPs that we have, and each one might have maybe 30, 40 steps, right? From how to look for a domain, how to buy a domain, how to host a domain, how to set up the site, and to everything. Now, they don't all do that. They only do elements of, let's say, building it and stuff. But get good quality staff, train them up, and good quality SOPs, and make certain that they're concise. Majority of SOPs I look at, they'll do a 45-minute video that could have been 4 minutes. And just make them concise, make the step by steps. And we 2 members of staff just go through the SOPs and make them as concise as possible. Can that 18-step checklist become a 12-step checklist or an 11-step checklist? Just make it really concise, straight to the point, no fluff, straight in, and then have like a Loom video underneath it showing the steps of this is how you do it. And do I want that? If it's a 2-minute video, if it can be 90 seconds, redo it. I want it 90 seconds because that video is going to get watched hundreds of times, and that's saving 30 seconds times 100 people watching it. It's well worth kind of make it as concise as it can be. So just brilliant staff. Like I'm nothing without my staff around me. I know that. They know that I know that. And my kind of role, my main role now is probably being a cultural architect in the business, in just keeping them happy. And a lot of them, like I've got 6 apprentices that started, and I think they started on, and bear in mind, these are in the UK. They started on £500 a month, which is like way below minimum wage, but that's what the apprenticeship wage was. And it's like an alternative to people going to like university, and they had no experience whatsoever. And now them 6 people that are apprentices are all directors of the company. They earn more money now off commissions than they do off the actual wage that they get. And they're on a good wage as well. And my kind of role is I want each one of them to be as successful as they can be, and they can grow to have their own empire. and they're on the way of building out their own mini empires, and they're happy, and it makes me happy seeing their growth.
Awesome, man.
Yeah,
Good stuff.
feeling.
Yeah, so I guess we'll go ahead and wrap things up there. Yeah, it's been awesome. Thanks for coming to talk to us about Rank and Rent. I feel like, it's been quite educational
For
for
sure.
me, I'm sure for Nick as well. Yeah, what are your next plans for the year? So are you planning on kind of extending the podcast circuit into a speaking circuit? Are you going to be around any
Well,
events?
I always attend all the events. I prefer the masterminds than the actual talks. If I'm being honest, I don't like. I prefer interacting with people. I quite like the podcast more than what I thought I would, because you can go down a rabbit hole of speaking about something specific that you might want to know or want to get into. Where if you're up on stage and you've just got a fixed talk and the audience don't really want to know what that talk's about, or they might have certain questions and want you to divert that way as opposed to going that way, and you don't know how advanced the kind of the crowd are. There's been times where I've known some people go and do a talk and they've had a standing ovation, and they've gone and done the exact same talk at another venue and they've been booed off stage because they're like, it matters. You need to adapt with who's there. Sometimes you don't know who's in the crowd. Does it need to be like a white hat? Like if you go to Brighton SEO, it's got to be like a white hat type. They don't like you hearing about buying links. If you guys turned up there, you'd get booted out.
That'd be
That
really
makes
funny.
me want to go.
Yeah. So I love doing the masterminds. I quite like doing the podcasts. I want to build up a bit of a personal brand. Just because I think as AI is growing, I think personal branding is going to become more and more important. So that's the main reason why I want to do it. And yeah, I might do 1 or 2 Q&As on stage, but I'd never do just an outline, just going up and doing a talk. I've nothing really to sell as well. Quite a lot of people get up on stage and they're trying to sell something. Like none of these podcasts, I'm not trying to sell anything to people. I'm trying to help others do well. I want to elevate others to be more successful. I make nothing apart from more competition by telling people that Rank and Rent's a good business model.
Yeah, you've given a lot of very direct advice on some of the niches you're in, etc. So I would highly advise anybody watching this not to go up against the famous James Dooley. He will whoop your ass more than likely.
All right, James. Yeah, we look forward to seeing you out at Chiang Mai. And
I look forward to it.
yeah, I guess to leave things off, where can people find you? Or is there anything at all you want to plug? Or yeah, where can people follow you or whatever?
So I'm on jamesdooley.com. It's probably the easiest way. So from there, then you can find all my social profiles like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'm going to start doing quite a bit more on YouTube with regards to like making some shorts out of this kind of podcast and stuff like that, and any other podcasts. I'm more about trying to create the shorts than doing the long form videos. I think people nowadays, they want to listen to something for 30 seconds and then go. So
Yeah.
The way of the world. Short
Yeah,
attention
exactly.
span.
So, that's kind of where I'm going to be on. I'm going to be a bit more active on social media and stuff. I've always tried to keep myself to myself from a business standpoint, but yeah, with my personal branding, I need to talk a little bit more.
Awesome.
That's probably why people aren't getting stuff done anymore, is they've got that 30-second, attention span in the morning while they're doing their morning routine. And they're like, oh man, learned so much today. Let me go do whatever now.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, good luck with your personal branding blitz or whatever you want to call it. And yeah, we'll see you out at Chiang Mai, man. Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, see you out in Chiang Mai. Sounds good.
Cheers. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. Be sure to check the links below for more info on this topic, as well as other cool stuff like SEO case studies, our Facebook community, and our link building services. And like always, please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Thanks, and happy ranking.